Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hi, my name is Nicole. This video explains how you can eliminate ever using offshore companies for remote and lower-cost staff and replace them with hiring people like me in the Dominican Republic to your company where I can work at half the cost of your USA location. Examples are replacing call centers, outsourcing companies, or virtual assistant firms with hiring people like me to fit in same as long-term career employees and do this through an HR company in a lower-cost country such as the Dominican Republic. I am making this video in two parts. First, a basic introduction and summary. If you appreciate this introduction, you can continue with a detailed explanation, or stop, mark the spot on the video, and come back to finish viewing later. To put this into perspective, if I lived in Boston, New York, or Miami, my salary could be $60,000 per year. Then comes all the employee overhead costs and legal risks, such as when disgruntled employees file lawsuits. When salaries combined with overhead, my realistic total cost to work in the USA could be $75,000 per year. A person like me could work for you remote from the DR for a total cost of $30,000 per year with zero legal risk, and this fact helps make the point. In this modern world, video calls such as Zoom or Teams with screen sharing make communication the same as if I am literally sitting next to you. Our concept is simple, common sense, and based on helping you create your own nearshore, lower-cost operation. When you control your own nearshore, lower-cost team, you also control success versus failure. When you use call centers or virtual assistant firms, you give up control and rely on them. Growing your own Dominican-based lower-cost team could be for a personal assistant, customer, sales, or technical support, accounting, marketing, and any jobs that are doable online or over the phone that are trainable. One perception is you can afford a quality person like me to work remote from the DR, while in USA you struggle to afford even marginal people. Another perception is you could afford two people like me working remote from DR for the cost of one person at your USA location. In the USA, companies often hire long-term career employees through HR services such as ADP or Paychecks. Let's use me for this example. Our American corporation owns an HR company in the Dominican Republic. They can recruit people like me to work for you who are college-educated, bilingual English and Spanish, and have good job skills. Using me as the example, we source and submit 3 people for you to interview over Zoom or Teams. You select me. My cost, including all overhead, can be 50% or more less than if I worked at your USA location. We would tell you the estimated minimum and maximum cost for a job description and add the actual cost of each person on top of their resume. This is so you know the cost ahead of time. In this modern world, video calls such as Zoom or Teams with screen sharing make communication the same as if I am literally sitting next to you. I am not rented like from an offshore company. I fit in working for you same as a long-term loyal career employee, while on paper I'm payrolled by our HR company. Imagine me working the next 15 years and growing a career working for you at half the cost of working from your USA location. That is doable with our plan, yet not possible with offshore companies. You do not pay any payroll or FICA taxes, no cost for health or other insurance, no workers' compensation or state unemployment tax, no legal risk, and no normal USA employee overhead. This flowchart can help you understand how the dots connect from your company in USA to me in the Dominican Republic. Your USA corporation, our USA corporation, our Dominican HR company, me in the Dominican Republic working for you. Which would you prefer, renting me from an offshore company on the other side of the planet where you have little control over me and where it is impossible for me to grow a long-term career with you, or hire me same as a career employee through our Dominican HR company where I can work remote for half the cost of your USA location, and where you have control over my job description, how I am trained, used, and managed. Imagine building a team of people like me in the DR where you can easily fly to come visit and spend time with us. We are only 2 hours from Miami. Visiting your team is another important ingredient that is not doable with call centers or virtual assistant firms in faraway countries. If you like the idea of growing your own nearshore Dominican-based lower-cost staff operation with people like me versus renting people from offshore companies, I will end this introduction and then continue with a detailed explanation. You can mark this place on the video, stop and continue viewing later, or hang in there with me and view this remainder as this is good stuff. Okay, let's get into the detailed explanation. I will start with an important statement. Offshore companies pay people poverty wages, treat them badly, and force people to work long hours and double shifts. Using me for this example, our philosophy is that you should benefit from my lower cost while also partnering with our HR company to lift me up and give me a better job and career than I can otherwise find in my country. This win-win way of thinking is very different from renting people from offshore companies and is also why I would want to give you my 100%, do a good job, be loyal, and hope it becomes possible to work for you long-term. An example is my cost to you may be 50% less than working at your USA location, while also being better for me than working at call centers, outsourcing companies, resorts, and other jobs here in my country. We both win. Let's dig into the truth about offshore companies such as call centers, outsourcing companies, or virtual assistant firms, because this explains why we created our business model the way we did. A. Offshore companies hire people as their employees to control and rent to companies like yours as extra and expendable lower-cost staff. B. That is where the problem starts. The American company thinks of the offshore workers as rented and expendable, and the workers know this. C. The workers think the offshore company is their employer, and the American company is just a gig for as long as the work lasts. D. Neither the American company nor the offshore workers care about each other. Of the money your company would pay to an offshore company, their leaders keep most of the money to themselves and pay very low wages to the workers. The owners and managers enjoy a good life while the workers live in poverty. If you give an offshore worker a raise or pay them a bonus, the offshore company will secretly take 50% to line the pockets of the leaders but never disclose such unethical practices. Additionally, the jobs with offshore companies are very unstable. They will never admit this, but offshore companies double dip by assigning the same worker to 2 American companies and hope nobody notices. These are the games offshore call centers, outsourcing companies, and virtual assistant firms play because it's the only way they can make money at their low pricing. Ask yourself this question. After all I just shared, if you worked for an offshore company, would you be excited or motivated? I bet not. You would most likely use the job as a means of earning money until something better came along and then quit. Then the offshore company tries talking the American company into accepting replacements. This is exactly what happens with offshore call centers, outsourcing companies, and virtual assistant firms. The old saying is true, you get what you pay for. And now you understand why most American companies that try offshore companies cancel when realizing the overselling of their abilities and unethical practices outweigh benefits of lower cost. Let's change the conversation to details of our plan to help you create and grow your own nearshore lower-cost staff operation, be it one person or grow a team. One of the companies we work with is a staffing firm in New York. 6 years ago, the owner began replacing recruiting staff from an Indian offshore company with people through us in the Dominican Republic. Today, this staffing firm leader has 30 people on their Dominican team. He starts people as recruiter or candidate sourcer trainees and grooms them to become full recruiters. His accounting and new hire onboarding staff also work remote from the DR at the lower cost. And his website and online marketing manager works remote from the DR at the lower cost. Once per quarter, this company leader flies to the DR to spend quality time with his team. Each December, he takes his Dominican team to a beach resort along with his USA managers for a company retreat and Christmas party. The company leader treats his Dominican staff as valued career employees, not like rented from a call center or a virtual assistant firm. In return, the DR staff work very hard and are loyal to this company leader. This is what we mean by you're using our Dominican HR company as a shortcut to create your own nearshore, lower-cost staff operation that you control. Assume you want to work with us and request one person to start. You do this with our American corporation. Our American corporation transfers your request to our Dominican HR company. They recruit 3 people in Dominican Republic for you to interview over Zoom or Teams video call. For this example, I am one of the 3 candidates. I am college educated, bilingual, English and Spanish, and have good job skills to match your job description. Usually by email or over the phone, we would quote you a realistic minimum and maximum billing rate range that makes it possible to afford recruiting and hiring good people to work for you from the DR. This way you would know the cost range before getting started. At top of each resume, we put the specific rate so you know the cost of a person before deciding to interview. People have different education, skills, and experience, and is why they require different pay levels. You can look and choose. Although I am a contractor working through the HR company for your company, I think of you as my employer. I believe there is a potential to grow a long-term career with you. And you think of me same as a career employee, so you and I are on the same team. This positive chemistry and potential to work together long-term explain why I would be motivated and give you my 100%, which never happens with offshore outsourcing companies or virtual assistant firms. Each month, our American company wires money to our Dominican bank and HR company to fund payroll. We send you the invoice first of the next month. Therefore, we front the money to cover payroll for the people set up to work for your company. Your company reimburses ours the next month. You can choose an hourly rate or fixed monthly salary, whichever you prefer. We handle taxes and human resources to ensure people in DR are legally paid. We designed our service to match with American companies that like the idea of having their own nearshore, lower-cost staff operation, but making this happen is just too much. An example is you're preferring to have a person like me work directly for you rather than renting me from a call center or virtual assistant firm. Being we already have the HR company, international banking, and connections with the English-speaking people, you're using our company as a shortcut to create your own nearshore operation, be it one person or a team. Same as if I am your career employee, you have control over my annual evaluation, any raises, bonuses, paid time off, etc. You can even create a long-term career plan for me where our HR company fits in the middle and I am half the cost of working at your USA location. I should not be compared to a person from an offshore company. That is a totally different scenario. The correct perception is how much might I cost if all employee overhead and salary are combined and I worked at your USA location. An example is, my salary in Miami or New York might be $60,000, and when all overhead is added, a total cost could be $75,000. A person like me in DR could work for you at $30,000 total cost with all overhead included. That is the correct cost comparison. Here is a list of the types of people who could realistically work for you remote from the DR at the lower cost. A personal assistant for your company leaders, customer, sales, or technical support, accountants and bookkeepers, website, social media, and online marketing, or any job that can be performed online or over the phone that is trainable. Now that you have viewed all this information, if you're interested in the potential to create and grow your own nearshore lower-cost staff operation, the next step is a Zoom or Teams call. We would be happy to answer your questions. As you can see from this presentation, we are brutally honest. Being honest is the only way to start off and grow a successful partnership. I wish you a nice day, and bye for now.